Hello, in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a 3D icon inside Blender. To make your transition from 2D to 3D design easier, we will first look at how to turn a 2D SVG file into a 3D object in this video. This way, you can design anything with your 2D design software and then export as SVG file and then turn them into a 3D object inside Blender. You will also learn how to navigate inside Blender and practice some of the basic transform tools inside Blender. I'm using a Blender version 2.83, which is a stable one, also has Blender's long-term support. So I recommend using this version to follow along the tutorial. However, you can download the latest one, but just be aware that there may be some shortcut and interface changes in the new version. Once you download Blender and install it on your computer, when you open up, you can see this screen. First thing you want to do is create a project, and you can click General or just click Outside. And then next thing you want to do is to always save your file. So go to File and Save. And here you can navigate to your desired folder to save your file. So I will select desktop to save it. However, you can also click plus sign to add some folders as your favorites, so you can easily navigate to those folders in the future. So I will give it a name, 3D icon, and then save a Blender file. So now you can see that I have my project named and saved to my desktop. You want to use Command S or Control S as a shortcut to save your project as frequently as possible, because Blender doesn't automatically save your project. So in case your computer crashes at any moment, it's always a good habit to develop to save your project as frequently as possible. Next, let's learn how to navigate inside Blender. You have this XYZ axis on the top right corner of your viewport, and this allows you to, for example, click on the X-axis to rotate and the Y again to rotate, or you can also double click on X, Y, and Z to go to different views such as the top view, and I can go back to X is the front view or the side view. And then if you want to navigate out, you can rotate your view. And to do that, if you have a 3-button mouse, what you can do is you can hold down on your middle mouse button and then drag it. And this way you can rotate your view. And if you want to zoom in and zoom out, you can scroll up and down on your mouse to zoom in and zoom out. And if you want to pan your view, what you can do is hold down Shift and then hold down your middle mouse button and then drag around your mouse, you'll be able to pan. So what if you don't have a 3-button mouse? What you can do is you can go to Edit and go to Preferences, and then go to Input. Under the mouse, you can select Emulate 3-button mouse. And if you set your modifier to Alt, what you can do is now hold down Alt and then left click on your mouse. You'll be able to rotate your view just like you have a 3-button mouse available. However, you have to use both of your hands, so it's not as easy as just using a mouse. So it's always good to invest in a 3-button mouse for 3D related work. Also, you can use this little hand. You can click down and drag to pan your view, or you can also use this zoom once you click on it to drag your mouse and zoom in, zoom out. So these are the options when you don't have a 3-button mouse available, or you just want to use these toolbars instead of your mouse. So that's the basic navigation. So now let's take a look at the scene panel. This is where you can find all your 3D objects inside the viewports. Currently, we have a camera, a cube, and a light available. So inside this tutorial, none of these matters. So what I will do is I will teach you how to delete your cube since we are no longer needed. So we can right click on Cube and then click Delete. And then we'll say that we don't need camera or light, but I don't have to delete them. All I need to do is turn off this collection. This will exclude them from the viewport, so I won't see them. That makes my viewport cleaner. And the collection, you can think of it as a folder to organize your assets. So now what we can do is to import our SVG file to work with. So you go to File, Import, and find SVG file. So mine is saved at desktop, so I can click on this and import SVG. So it's here, but you can see it because it's too small. But you can see it under the Scene Collection panel. I have 3 different curves. Those are the different paths inside the SVG file. So what I can do is I can use A, which is to select all, or I can just click and drag and select all of these. And then what I can do is I want to use Scale tool to scale it up. So Scale tool, Rotate tool, and Move tool is all on the left side of this panel. So you can click Scale to enable it, or you can use a shortcut key S, and this will allow you to just simply, let me select all of them, and then select S to drag them up. So I can drag my mouse and then drag them up. Okay, that's all. And if you want to use the scale tool instead of using shortcut, then you can say along which axis you want to scale, whether it's the Y or X or Z axis. However, it's not proportionally scaled up. You can click with inside this circle to make it scale up proportionally. However, I like to use the shortcut. This way I won't see this panel, and I can just drag my mouse. Okay, so now I want to go to my top view. So you can click Z to go to your top view here. However, I want to use my shortcut, which is 137. These are corresponds to front, side, and top views. So 7 is the view that I want to see. It looks like I didn't resize it proportionally, so I want to use Command Z to go back, and now use S to scale it up. So I always recommend remembering some of the shortcuts for Blender. They're easy to remember and gonna save so much time for you when working inside Blender. So I will use A to select everything, and then I want to enable my Move tool, and instead of click here, I want to use my shortcut G. And then this way I can move around. However, I want to constrain a little bit. I want to first move along the x-axis and then the y-axis. This will be very helpful when you want to do precise movement. So what you can do is click G on your keyboard and then click Y. This will allow you to move only along the y-axis, okay? And then G and then X will allow you to move along the x-axis. So now I think this is more or less aligned with the center, and I can continue working on that. So I will hold down my middle mouse button to rotate my view, and now what I want to do is extrude this shape and give it some thickness. So what you can do is click on this curve and then go back to the object data properties, and under geometry you can find the extrusion here. So you can click and then drag. However, you see that the changes are pretty dramatic. So what I want to do is I want to hold down Shift, and then this way I can make a finer adjustment. So hold down Shift and then drag. I think, okay, 0.01 is something that looks good to me. And next, what I want to do is, you can see that these edges are pretty sharp, so I want to bevel it a little bit. So the same thing, I want to hold down Shift and then click and drag the depth underneath the bevel. And then I think this is a good size of bevel. So I have some more rounded corner. So I'm pleased with that. Next, I want to work on the letter P. Basically, I want to extrude it out as well. So we can repeat the same thing. We want to hold down Shift and then click on Extrude. Okay, something like this, maybe. I can rotate my view and see how much I want to extrude out. Okay, I'm good with this. And next, I want to give it a little bit bevel, the same amount. And let's look at how it looks from the top. Looks good to me. Next, let's do it for the S. So usually we want the same amount of extrusion and bevel, so you can go here and copy the same numbers there. However, there's an easy way you can do to sync these data if you modify them. So what you can do is click on the first P curve, and then next click on the S curve. Then go to extrude and right click, and then you can say you can select copy to selected. This will copy the same data to the selected S curve. The same thing, we want to copy that to the bevel property to S. So now we have them extruded and beveled using the same amount. So if I rotate it down, you can see that they actually extrude outside as well. So I don't want that. So what I can do is maybe I can decrease their extrusion. So maybe let me change it to 0.01. Okay, and then the same, I want a P to be 0.01. Okay, but they're embedded inside the square now. So what I can do is I can select both of them and then move them up along the z-axis. So hold down G and Z, I can move them up. I want to see from a different view. I can now use numpad 1 to turn into the front view, and then GZ to adjust it a little bit. Okay, I'm good with that. And then let me move back to the front view. So what I can do is, it looks like after I make some extrusion and bevel, they are too close to each other. So I want to give it some spacing in between. So I want to use move to G and then X to move along the x-axis. Basically move it to the right a little bit. Same for P, G, and X to move it to the left a little bit. Okay, so now I'm basically finished. You see that you have a 3D icon available. And then this is such a simple process by importing a SVG file into Blender and then adding some thickness and then bevel to the object. However, there is one downside of using SVG file. Let's say if we enter the edit mode, which I will talk about more in the next video, and then you can see we have these handles that I can play around. If I select and then use G to move around, I can edit the shape. So you can continue to do some editing here using these handles. You can think of them as like you use pen tools to draw 2D software such as Illustrator. So this works the same way. However, usually inside 3D, what we want to manipulate is something called mesh. But they are all called curves right now. So what you can do is select them all and exit out of the edit mode, basically into the object mode, and then go to object and then convert tool and then select mesh from curve. This way you see that all the curve icons become a mesh icon. And this way, once I use tab key to go into the edit mode, I see now they're turned into vertices, edges, and the faces. And for example, now what I can do is I can select face, and then let's say I can manipulate it that way. However, you see that these meshes are usually not very neatly organized, kind of messy. So usually you want to do some cleanup of these meshes if we want to continue to edit them, or use these objects for animations or things. So usually these SVG turned 3D objects are not great for doing animations, nor good for exporting for 3D printing. However, if you're just doing a 3D illustration, going to do a still 3D photo, then it doesn't matter. And it's such a easy and quick way to turn a 2D design into a 3D object. Basically following these steps, you can turn almost any SVG file into a 3D object very easily.